Hello, fellow targeted individual. This is Olive Raw. I'm doing a segment on your perpetrators, the gang stalking group. Now, these are a group of psyop operatives. You will find them enrolled in your school. You will find them as your teachers. They are primarily military personnel, primarily in the Air Force. They work on a segment of the military branch and the CIA. And if you are a targeted individual, you are a victim of human experimentation on mind control. When I first had my targeting experience, I noticed it around the time I was 21 back in 2011. That's been a while now. But the targeting happened primarily around the time when I was in Laos in 2005 for a summer school break from high school, when I encountered what I call the Stilt House alien abduction. Now, Laos, a country north of Thailand, is very underdeveloped at the time that I visit. Certain villages barely have electricity or running water. So my experience was quite horrific when I woke up seeing strobes of light piercing through the tattered bamboo window from the Stilt House. And this was when I was waking up from a nightmare and a deep sleep paralysis. I had series of dreams that I've never had before of gray extraterrestrial going around and trying to extract something from my uterus to use. Now, as a psychic, I can kind of peer through and have always had this intuitive telepathic ability. I read that the gray wanted to extract and look for fetuses because they eat them. Now, back in 2024, I recently went back to Laos to get closure on the whole event that happened. Because during the length of 2013 up until 2024 was the duration of my targeting. This goes from voice to skull technology. This goes to psyop operative that they hire, meaning in the CIA they hire people, perpetrator and abuser and narcissists, to send psychic attacks to victims like you as a targeted individual and myself. The end goal is to drive people into insanity and suicide. The end goal is to drive people into financial ruin and homelessness if they don't have a strong support system. So this group of targeting or group of military operatives in the U.S. military, the CIA, they are a group of subhuman but very human looking hybridized alien beings. They can pass off as us, they go to school alongside us, and they can be our teachers. But they love to keep us under mind control. Now, in the United States, I notice my psychic ability gets dampened when I came back from Laos. Because when I'm out of Laos, there's almost like no frequency fence, so my psychic ability is amped. I'm not suppressed. But when I come back to the United States, I feel suppressed again. And it's funny how the military, the Air Force, is just about, I'll say, 30 feet, just like down the streets from where I'm at. So this targeting has been going on for quite a while. They have bases in Laos, surprisingly, where U.S. operatives, and I won't call them citizens of the United States, they've just taken over and hijacked the country and have used the country's military force as their own guinea pig. This force is quite ancient, as the image shows. They represent themselves through ancient histories as this winged disc society, primarily very military-like in nature. Their origin is from a dim star system, and I see that they have multiple operations on-world and off-world, transporting human as resources. As of late, there was instances of children that were going missing in Laos. I remote view and saw these two buzz-cut looking, blonde hair, blue eye, military guy that were quite deranged, quite crazy, quite, as other more benevolent extraterrestrial have communicated, unstable. Other extraterrestrial have communicated that the hybridization program is an illegal program in the other nations out there, because they see these military created personnel as extremely unstable. That is why the elites are into some very perverted stuff, because they are hybridized. They tend to be very perverted. And we're talking about mass killing, enjoyment of killing, cannibalism, and even, because that was what was going on in Laos, and child cannibalism and child rape. I see clones of theirs becoming deranged, and I see them giving the clones, when the clones come out sometimes as pedophiles. And I see various babies being offered to them, primarily the splice experimentation that's gone wrong, that's given to them for food. So they have these military bases that's been operating, where they primarily create soldiers so that they can fight off-world and on-world. And these groups are building their military force here, splicing themselves with us, and also doing horrendous mind control experimentation. Now, if you are being followed by military PSYOP personnel, then you know you can develop your intuitive ability to see them and to know when they are coordinating with themselves like a military unit to target and harass you, because they do it as a coordinated team. They will hack your computer and all of your devices. They will try to surveillance you 24/7. They will even have stationed around you other psychics that will harass you, and they will send psychic attack, whether it's through voice, B2K, or EMF waves. Like I said, when I came back to the United States, my psychic ability is still present, but dampened a bit. It's like this suppression network that's around and being emitted around the United States, and I feel it. But when I leave into a country that isn't developed and doesn't have this network, that my ability is more amplified, so I'm not as suppressed. I was able to see military bases. What it is a research lab, because they're using human bioorganics, blood, stem cells, plasma, bones, even genetic material to further enhance themselves and as medicine. So they inject our genes into them as medicine. And they use us to extend their lives. They use our hormones in their soldiers. And they use all types of people on Earth. There are bases in South America, in Asia, and throughout the United States. And there are operatives, very human looking, that walks around looking like us, that work with them, and it's primarily through trade. So there's this secret human trafficking trade with humans being involved, and if you are a targeted individual, you are a victim. You are a victim under their experimentation, their mind control, and they are extracting from you vital fluids, genetic material, and experimenting to see if they can mass mind control you all. So these hybrids are coming together to fight, coming together to kind of fight us, so we have to unite as humans, and we have to develop our intuitive abilities. Other intelligent life forms have telepathically communicated with me, saying that hybridized beings like the elite that are human alien hybrids are very unstable. They don't even allow their creation, so Earth has become like a prison planet where they are dumped here. But then when they're dumped here, they're trying to build up military forces. People outside other, like the Pleiadians, don't like to deal with it. They're scared of human, and other extraterrestrial life forms are scared of the byproduct of this planet because it's so violent and genocidal. It has this overtone of this, I don't want to say like eugenics, and a bit Nazism in it, because the whole hybridization program that's happening in these deep underground bases, also inside mountains, is so horrible that when I view these groups, they can pass off as the regular Joe working in the cubicle with bald head and glasses, but he's an alien, like that kind of guy. Or they can look like some blonde person with blue eye, but they have extraterrestrial splice material. So what they do is they are trading human, because I see them all the way out trading, and they send some material from Earth all the way to a planetary system that has a dim sun. It's almost like when I was remote viewing the planet and I was inside of one of these people, because sometimes I go inside their heads and I read them. I start getting downloads from them. I see that the planet is so dim, this is where they're from, that it looks like you're wearing sunglasses all the time, because our planet is quite bright. And I'm going to do more of this psychic channeling so you could see where all various humans come from and how we were brought here. So I think you might want to stick around, subscribe to my channel so you could find out more about real human history, where we're really from, and the various groups of human races that were brought here and that were also naturally from here. But their planetary system, I'll call them the negative alien agenda, are very dim. They live in a dim star system, very much like from the movie Dune, the Harkonnens, where they live in what's called the Black Sun, which I know it ties in with like Nazism, but really it's like this planet with a dark, dim, a sun that barely has enough sunlight. It has enough sunlight, so the beings on there are very pale, and the human-like beings on there are very, very pale. So the blue eye, the blonde hair, the translucent white skin are from this planet, and they are trading with Earth, and they are not benevolent. They want to continue to trade human as resources. When they splice with humans and they create all these hybridized beings, it creates a very unstable group, and they let these unstable group control this planet. That's why the elites are so crazy.